Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching our video. My name is Missy Mail. I use she, her pronouns. I am one of the co-executive directors at Rape Crisis Center, and I am in charge of our outreach here at the agency. And I am joined by Dana Pellebon, my fabulous co-executive director, who runs our direct client services. And I thought it was really important to make this video because one thing we don't hear a lot about is the amazing work Dana is doing in the community to center survivors. And so I wanted to give Dana the opportunity to tell us a little bit more about that. So Dana, can you tell us, what are some of the things that you're doing to center survivors in your work?
So what we are doing, first, thank you, Missy, for having me on our virtual video newsletter. Second, I want to talk about not just our work, but what we're doing as a community to center survivors. So we, in the field of sexual assault and domestic abuse, have been working really hard to think about how to intentionally work with survivors of intimate partner violence, of sexual violence, to really center what it is that they need and what it is that they want. So what we've kind of done is come up with a couple of groups that focus on different things. So on one hand, we have the sexual assault response team. That's a countywide team with the DA's office, with Dane County 911, the state forensic office, DA's, RCC, Unidos, a lot of agencies that come together to think about what our response is when sexual violence or domestic violence is presented with us. That also has Madison Police Department and a variety of police departments around the county, including UWPD. So we talk about cases that we have come across that may have had some bumps, or may have exposed some systemic issues that we need to address, not just in our agencies, but in the agencies that we collaborate with. So we meet once a month. We are talking through a variety of issues. We work with the Department of Justice Attorney General's office and their SART team. And as a part of that, we are also going to be one of the test sites for the new sexual assault kit tracking system. And the way that works is when someone comes in for a forensic nurse exam at Meritor, who is also one of our partners, there is sometimes evidence collected. That evidence goes to the state crime lab and then goes to law enforcement. What we have found over the years is that there have been times when victims didn't understand what was happening. They didn't know where their kit was. They didn't know where it was in the process. And sometimes getting that information was a little frustrating. So what we, as a state, led by the Department of Justice, is doing is a tracking system to be able to track where those kits are at any time in the process. And that is tracking information for the victim so they know what is happening with their evidence. And that's an important sense of control and safety for survivors. Additionally, there is another large group that is doing something fairly radical. So there is the Dane County Commission on Sensitive Crimes. And as a part of that commission, and I'm a commission member, we all kind of head up some groups outside of that specific commission called Coordinated Community Response Groups. So those coordinated community response teams traditionally have also been made up of systems. And what we, again, have found is that while working in systems is nice, one of the things that gets lost is survivor voice and survivor agency. So the DV and SA coordinated community response team decided to join together to one team. And then from there, we wanted to center survivors. So we have spent the last year being really intentional about what we want and how we're going to move forward. And what we've decided is that there are going to be two teams. There is going to be a group of identified survivors who will be talking about issues that they are concerned about, that they want to see changed in the system. And then there will be another group of us called the implementation team. And that implementation team is made up of anyone in the community that cares about sexual violence and domestic violence. And we will put our good work together in action-oriented plans to support what the survivors are asking us to move forward on. So we're working really hard to center their voices, the work that they want to see done, without actually asking them to do that work. And that's really important. And then one of the last things I want to highlight is I'm actually also a board member for Outreach LGBTQ Center, and centering those of us that are marginalized. As a Black queer woman myself, it is important that we are hearing all of the voices along the spectrum. And one of the things that we have heard from the LGBTQ community is that there have not been sexual assault survivor support groups. It has been a topic that has just not been addressed. So in conjunction with Outreach, RCC is starting our very first LGBTQ survivor support group. That support group starts in November and will run monthly for 6 months. This will be our first trial, so hopefully that goes really well. You can go on both social medias, thercc.org and outreachlgbtqmadison.org to find out more information.
Wow. Well, first of all, we love radical, right? So this is all really amazing work, and we're talking about centering survivors, and that's a part of our mission, and it is really important, and I think it's really helpful. Can you just talk about, just briefly tell our audience, the good people who've taken the time to watch this video, why it's so important to center survivors in this work?
Well, the big thing is that they are the ones that this experience is affecting the most. And one of the things that we are working on to center are survivors whose voices aren't heard, people who have been historically excluded from systems, people who have been marginalized in the response from systems. So when I think about whose voice do I need to center, I think about Black trans women in particular, who have some of the highest rates of sexual violence. I think about Indigenous women who have some of the highest missing and murder rates throughout the nation. I think about Latinx women. Also, all of these women, non-binary folks, trans folks who do not get the opportunity sometimes to tell their stories, and not just tell their stories, but to have their experiences validated and treated respectfully. Madison has been working really hard to really look at ourselves and look at how it is that we are dealing with persons who have experienced sexual violence, and saying to ourselves, where have we failed? And the way that we know how to be better is to center the people who've had these experiences. So it's really important to us and to the community and to the organizations that we partner with to listen, not just to listen, but then to do action based upon what it is that we hear.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dana. And thank you everyone who took the time to watch this video. We hope you learned a little bit more about some of the work that you don't always hear that we're doing in the community. If you have questions, feel free to send us an email at info@thercc.org or check out our website at thercc.org. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.